Today, I'd like to show you an example of a digital portfolio that a second-year student made in Burman University. I am not suggesting that you should reproduce this kind of portfolio for yourself. Each person should individualize their portfolio based on their skills and their context, but sometimes a hint at what others are doing and how they're succeeding or struggling are helpful. So let's take a look. What she's done at the very first page is just introduce who she is, introduce herself. Does that as well as giving in a paper which talks about her orientation to teaching or her philosophy of education, possibly. I kind of like what she's done here in that if we click on it, she's linked it to a Google Doc. This Google Doc is available in her G Drive. And so if she edits this document there, it'll also change in her portfolio without her needing to change them in both places. Anyways, so she's linked it between her Google Doc and her portfolio. She's also done some other things before I talk about the TQSs here, but she's also pointed out some of her interests. She started talking about some of those here, giving those. She's also, these are additional things that you may want to add. Reference page, here's Jeremy, who's the dean and coach, me, Steve Schultz, school student teacher, chemistry, and also, as you see here, her resume. One of the goals for this portfolio for Burman University is so that you can show your 7 competencies, specifically the teacher competencies that are required by the Alberta government for certification. So what she's done here is created a page for TQS1, which is building effective relationships. In this case here, she's added feedback that's been given when she did her field experience. She's also linked this so we could take a picture of this and it would fit in here nicely, but it might be hard to read. She has linked it, downloaded it to her Google Docs, and then embedded it. It's a little bit easier to read when you do it that way. Does that make sense? I hope it does. And she's done that a few times. What I want to point out is when we add artifacts, which we consider this an artifact, that next to it you describe. So why is it there? And you can describe what it is and then why you think that it actually would impact your ability, in this case here, to meet the teacher quality standard of fostering effective relationships. All right, so let's take a look at some other ones. Engages in lifelong learning. Well, she's using Google Docs, she's using Drive, she talks about those, and she then goes down. One of the things I want to point out that isn't quite ready for her portfolio is this right here. She does have a document that she uploaded to her Google Drive, but when you upload things to your Google Drive and you embed them in a portfolio like this, you have to give the permission for it to be seen. This document, even though she embedded it here, likely in her Google Drive, she did not share it. So in other words, this document needs to be shared individually. So each of those documents that we looked at last, so for example, back here, these documents, that'll pop up in a second, those were shared. In other words, she uploaded it to Google Drive and then said people, specifically me, or people on campus maybe, can view this. So if you do embed things that are from your drive, you got to make sure that they are shared individually, one by one. So there's just one more step. Professional body of knowledge. What she has here is a lesson plan that she made in a science class, specifically secondary science. Again, just the first steps. Likely she wanted to add more, or certainly add more here, and doesn't have anything yet. By the time that she graduates and wants to show this to principal. Nice thing here is she does actually have a video. I could click on this and it would run, and the little kid runs away. An interesting thing that she chose to do is not show the child's face. So if I did watch the video, the child runs away and plays around, and anyways, the whole time of the video, the child's not showing their face, which of course is making sure that FOIP laws are followed. And so she does talk about that. She chose put her police service report here. Sure, why not? It's not something that a principal won't require you to do anyways, but it's nice for them to know up front that you're good. And last one here, developing and integrating. So this one here is she's showing that she's not just somebody that shows up to class and does work, but that she has something beyond the classroom. And so what does she bring to the school if you hired her? Well, these kind of things. Right. Don't want to show too much of that. So this is one person that's a 2.5, 3 years student here, and I think that if you produce something similar to this in the first year or 2 years of Burman, you will get a lot of positive reinforcement. She intends to develop this further, and I would hope that if you chose to write something like this or build something like this, that you would add your personal touches as well. Anyways, here's a good start. I hope it helps.